Alright, Brad S311 here. Going to be talking to you today about the cooling system on a Kawasaki stand-up js550. Where first to start, this cooling system, or design I guess you call it, or layout, or whatever, can work on basically the 440, the 550, and the 550sx. It's all same kind of cooling design route if you decide to go this way. In this particular model, we're going to be talking about how to hook up a single inlet and outlet cooling system for an aftermarket exhaust system. This particular aftermarket exhaust system is the Kirker. You can also work on the Kaufmann's, I believe, and the West Coast, and maybe like a PJS or a Mariner exhaust system. Just kind of throw that one out there for one last little one. So it can work for a lot of different types of jet skis. With this particular model, as you can tell, I do have an aftermarket head, but don't worry so much about that. Imagine if that aftermarket head was a stock head, and we'll just kind of go from there. Okay then. So I'm going to make this video, it's going to be very long-winded, just to let you know, and it's going to basically lay it out as if you've never seen a stand-up jet ski in your whole life and you don't know how the cooling system works. So, where to start? Oh yay, fun stuff. Okay then. So, the first place we're going to go ahead and start off with is the pump system. Okay, so the pump is what drives the pressure of the water and everything else through the whole system. Now bear with me, I totally forgot to look at the schematics on which side is the line from the pump start at and then run to. Does it run through the right side or does it run through the left side? I just can't remember. I believe it runs through the right side, across, and that way. Sorry, through, across, and that way. Which then eventually pops out through this little tiny line right here, okay, this copper line. So if you're having a hard time and water's not really coming through your system, keep in mind more than likely this line and here where the water's driving that way, if you can see that way, it's more than likely clogged by sand, seashells, and other kinds of organic debris. So you'll need to clean that out with like a clothes hanger. So keep that in mind. And as you can see right here, I have this line which runs out from the pump. This line right here runs out through the pump, and it's kind of long. I kept it long for a really good reason, because I actually like to take this line and have it come out and over, and kind of have it hang over the side of the ski, because when I hook up my hose adapter for like my water hose to cool the engine when I'm running it at the house, it tends to spray out a lot. So that's something that I did. You guys don't have to do that at all. It's just something that I did. So keep that in mind when you see this. Otherwise, if your hose adapter works great and it doesn't spray water out like mine does, I would just keep it a little bit shorter. So the first place it's going to run through is the actual exhaust manifold. And it comes in right here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Most of these aftermarket exhaust manifolds have two water inlets, one right there, and another one right there, if you can see that. Okay, so that's where it's at. This particular one has a plug in it and no copper adapter to run water through there. Here in Colorado, the water is so cool that I really do not need to run dual inlet water for the exhaust manifold, or dual water outlet, which is right here for the head. Okay, you can see these little nuts right here for this particular one. I just don't need to do that. Plus, on top of that, this engine's only running at 157 psi. So if my engine was running around 200, I definitely would, because that head gets so hot. It'd really keep it from I forgot what they call it, knocking, basically, or pre-detonation. So at 157 psi, 175, you can still keep it easily at 175, still keep it with the single outlet, and that's what that is, and also the single inlet. So just kind of keeping that in mind. So now I'm going to talk about the pathway through the motor itself. How does the water travel? So as you can see, the water comes in through the manifold right here, into the manifold, sorry. Cools the manifold first because that's what gets the hottest. Runs over to the cylinder block, from the cylinder block up to the head, okay? And it actually goes at a crisscross angle as far as the water does. It goes from that, if you see my fingers right now, from the manifold head through that cylinder block and kind of up and through the actual the head of the engine, the cylinder head, okay? And then eventually it comes out through that little tiny hose right there, okay? So it comes out through this little hose, and it will continue to come out and now start to cool the downpipe on the aftermarket exhaust system. Once it cools down the downpipe of the aftermarket exhaust system, it'll run through an outlet over here. And I think that some of the water actually still kind of comes down and cools the expansion chamber of the exhaust system, okay? So it's going to cool the, kind of run through here, through this little outlet line right here, and down, and cool the end of the expansion chamber over here. Now, this little T line that you see right here, this T-shaped line, this is what is actually known as the part of the pisser valve, okay? And you can see this little hose, okay? This little hose will just come right on over. You see it kind of comes like this. And eventually, just kind of runs till it runs right into this little pisser valve right here. And this is just a way of seeing, you know, is there water flowing through? How hot is it? You can touch it, put your hands on it, that kind of stuff. Okay, just in case anybody out there is actually wondering. And that's what that's designed to do. All right. And that's pretty much it. That's how the whole system runs. It's very simple. So, you know, you can watch this again. It just comes through the water inlet line right here, cools the manifold first, runs through the cylinder block, goes through the cylinder head, comes out through the cylinder head, through this little line right here, into the downpipe, from the downpipe across into the end of the expansion chamber, and also I think it cools in here. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it does because this thing never gets hot. I mean, it never gets hot. So it's got to have water flushing through the expansion chamber, and that's pretty much it. I highly recommend a Kirker pipe, or this solid pipe any day over the West Coast or the Kaufmans. It's just such a better design. It really is. You can actually take it apart a lot easier. I can actually disconnect right here, and I can pull the whole engine out. I mean, with everything connected, including the carburetor, without disassembling the what do you call it? Without assembling the manifold off, or this pipe right here. And it's just a great advantage. All the other exhaust systems, they usually wrap underneath this little lip right here, and because of that, you just can't pull the motor up and out. You just can't. So this thing's really cool that you can do that. So it's got its little own, you know, advantages. It's just easier, I think, but that's me. Something else I want to talk about was the no, we'll stop there. That's good enough. No, you really don't need dual cooling like everybody thinks, but if you are running at 200 psi and higher, 195 psi, 190 psi and higher, yeah, you're gonna have to run dual cooling just to help out with that head, especially if you're in a lot warmer states. That's what I think. You know, extra cooling can't hurt anything. But here in Colorado, when the water comes out of this little spigot, it's probably like 140 degrees, so it's way under the super hot range. So I just don't need to. Do you have any other kind of questions? Please do ask away. More than happy to help you out. Hopefully that helped solve some questions out there for some dudes.